Hello, thanks for joining us here on KXAN Live. I'm your anchor, Esmeralda Zamora, and today we have our Nick's First Warning Weather segment with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannin. Nick, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'll just slide back. My head grew, I guess.
So today we're going to discuss something that a lot of people are not waiting for here in Central Texas, and that is triple-digit temperatures.
Yeah, we thought with the 90s coming back to Central Texas potentially once or twice this week, it would be a good time to give you a early forward-looking view at triple digits and when those are more likely. The good news is that we've never had triple digits in the month of April in Austin at Camp Mabry. We have had them in May, though, so it may not be as far away as you'd like to think, but it's worth getting ahead of it now so that you can sort of get your mind ready so that when they're here that it's not too jarring. Let's talk about what summer average highs are like, because as we get into June, our average highs in the low 90s, by July upper 90s, and August the hottest average high of the year of 98. We don't ever have a time where our average daily temperature reaches 100, but it does get up to 99 July into August, that daily average high. Our average first triple-digit day, though, is July 4th. So you would think, oh, Nick, what are you talking about? It's April, and we're already talking about triple digits that usually happen in July. Why am I doing this, right? Well, that's because of the last few years, we have had our first triple-digit day earlier than average every year of the last few years. We've not waited until July. Recently, it's been in May or it's been in June, which is obviously much more of around the corner than July 4th is. Last year was the latest first triple-digit day of the last 5. We waited until June 27th for that first triple-digit day. But the year before, it was June 9th. And then look back at 2022, it was just 3 weeks into May, we had our first triple-digit day. And then 2021, middle of June, 2020, early June. So a lot of these coming several weeks, if not more than a month, before our typical first triple-digit day of the year. So that just gives you a general idea of what we've been doing here lately. But the earliest first triple-digit day in Austin area history has been in May on a number of occasions, but May 4th.
That's pretty early.
That's May the 4th be with you. It's so hot. We're in the triple digits.
May the sun be with you. That's what it is.
No kidding. So that is not too far away from now, of course. That is a month and 3 days away if we were to have our first triple-digit day on May 4th. That was back in 1984. Also May 7th, 1998. May 20th, 2008. May 21st, more recently there in 2022. And then May 24th in 1925. So triple digits in May is a possibility. The average first triple-digit day, though, as we said, was July 4th. And then you can see we typically average 29 triple-digit days. We had 80 of them in the year 2023. And our average last triple-digit day is August 30th. Now, while we're talking about summer, we thought we would talk about summer rain. We've been getting some rain and storms lately and the potential for more later this week. In fact, every day of the next few has rain and storm chances. But June is still pretty wet for us. The first month of meteorological summer gets a hefty amount of rainfall, more than 3.5 inches. And then the rain and storms and their frequency really drops off significantly as we get into July and even to some extent August. So we gotta rely on a lot of our spring rain and early summer rain to hopefully set us up for those drier months of the second half of summer. And if we don't get that, then the drier the ground is, often the hotter summer can be, because that drier ground is easier to heat up. Now here, back to triple digits again. When do we typically see the most triple digits in a month? It's August. We average 3 in June, 10 in July, 13 in August, 3 in September. And what we've been finding is every 10 years, as the National Weather Service updates what is considered average, so when we compare to average, we're comparing to normal. But what is normal? Well, normal is looked at over the last 30 years, done by decades. So 1990 to 2020 is the more or 1991 to 2020 is the most recent 30-year collection of weather data that we consider average. And then that will get recalculated again in 2030. It'll be 2001 to 2030 will be the next set of averages. So every 10 years, our average gets recalculated, right? Mm-hmm. And what we've been finding is with every recalculation, which happens every 10 years, we've been seeing more and more triple-digit days in Austin that we're now up to 29 being average. It used to be that our average triple-digit days were in the low teens, say 11, 13 or so. But now we're up to 29. Now, a few different reasons for that. The two primary ones is our warming climate and also the growth in Austin continuing to expand the urban heat island effect. But for those of you saying the growth is the entire reason that we're seeing more triple-digit days, that is not true, because we know that things that are not seeing growth, like the ocean, which has no concrete in it just about, is also seeing warming. So you can't blame the urban heat island effect on that. So our summers are getting hotter. We're seeing more triple-digit days on average, and we're now up to an average of 29 triple-digit days. So that's all to say that we're not too far away from the first triple digits. We've never seen them in April, but as we get into May, we have to start thinking about the possibility of them even as we turn to 90s. But now let's talk about rain. Do you want to talk about rain, Esme?
I think we all want to know about rain.
Yes, I know. We need so much rain here in Central Texas. Our drought is in a rough spot. Our lakes have only shown some small rises over the last couple of days thanks to some periods of rain and storms in the hill country. But we're still on track for a decent amount of rain chances, at least. Wednesday, Thursday, those chances are pretty low. Widely scattered to isolated, few showers and thunderstorms. But Friday into Friday night, we should get some decent rainfall here. Looks like half an inch to an inch for many of us, but some localized 1 to 2 inch amounts, if not higher. Saturday's rain looks concentrated in the morning with a drying trend through the day. So Saturday does not look to be a washout. Still looks wet in the morning, but a drying trend through the day. We've got Kite Fest, of course, on Saturday here in Austin that your entire KXA and First Warning Weather team is going to be playing a part in. And we don't want to be out there in the rain as much as you might not want to. So it does look like the wettest weather will be done by the time we get to Kite Fest. But there still may be some lingering showers and storms around, and the ground may be rather wet. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Sunday and Monday's rain chances are much lower there at just 10%. But there is an almost daily severe weather risk over the coming days, as including today. There's a 1 out of 5 severe weather risk that's known as a marginal risk for at least a part of the hill country. Large hail and damaging wind would be possible. I know that we have not a whole lot of sun in the metro, although the blue skies are trying to break through the clouds. But there is much more sun in the hill country that is attempting to destabilize the atmosphere and break the cap in the atmosphere. Should the cap hold, we won't get any storms. But if a storm can develop, it would very likely turn severe rather quickly today. So while our rain and storm chances are only at about 10%, that 10% means if we get a storm, it'll probably be severe in the hill country. So that's something we've got to watch. Large hail, damaging wind, the primary threat there. There is a higher chance of storms to make it farther east tomorrow. That's why more of the area is at a 1 out of 5 severe weather risk, because it still looks to be isolated. Those numbers there almost representing how isolated or widespread severe weather would be. So 1 being isolated, 5 being likely very widespread, as well as some higher end severe weather. So we're down to 1 here tomorrow. But it does include more of the area than today. So our rain and storm chances, therefore, are a little bit higher. There's still going to have to be some things in the atmosphere that happen for us to get storms here tomorrow. But there's a possibility of a round in the morning, then some more storms later in the day. Now into Thursday, another severe weather risk day, another 1 out of 5, this time north of Austin and northwest of Austin. Still large hail and damaging wind, the primary concern. But then we get into Friday. That's the day with the more widespread rain and storms. And that day also has the potential for some severe weather. Now, once we get beyond day 3, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't break down their severe weather threats by those categories, the 1 through 5. They instead, a little more vague, and we'll call it possible versus probable. So we're in that possible category here, which is more like a 2 out of 5 severe weather risk. But that includes all of Central Texas here on Friday. So not only could we get some beneficial rain on Friday, and in fact, beneficial rain looks likely, but we may also get some strong or severe weather, including large hail and damaging wind, even a low tornado risk on Friday. So lots to keep an eye on here this week. We're looking ahead to that eventual first triple-digit day that won't be happening this month, we can say with a good amount of certainty. May happen in May. It averages July 4th. But in the near term, we're talking storms this week. And then guess what, Esme? For next week, we are looking at perhaps some of the coolest air of this spring nearby.
Wow.
Cooler than normal in our eastern counties, near normal in the metro, and warmer than normal as you head out to the west. This may also bring
coming from
some
90 degrees last week to cooler weather this week?
Well, cooler weather Sunday into Monday is when this arrives. So starting Sunday, Monday, continuing into at least a portion of next week, cooler than normal to near normal. So we're talking 60s during the day, Sunday, Monday, and possibly a little later into next week, 40s at night. How about that? I know we thought we were done with the 40s at night, but it's certainly a possibility here. And then as far as the wet weather outlook goes, unfortunately drier than normal next week. So we've got to try and bank all the rain we can get here this week and into at least part of the weekend, because next week looks to revert back to a cooler yet drier weather pattern for us, which doesn't give us the opportunity for the rain and storms that we see. I do want to bring up one more thing. I know last week when we did our last KXN Live discussion, we talked about the April outlook. I think it was last week, right?
Yeah, it was last week.
So they actually updated the outlook for April yesterday. And if you remember, it was drier than normal and warmer than normal.
Now we're wetter than normal?
Well, now we're near normal.
Oh.
Which is an improvement over than drier than normal. We'll take near normal over drier than normal. Parts of North Texas, wetter than normal. The drier than normal likelihood area has shifted well to the west of us. So near normal rain would clearly be a good thing for us in the month of April. And then as far as the temperatures are concerned, still warmer than normal. So that didn't change, but what did change there was the outlook as far as rain goes. And just a reminder, what is normal for those of you that didn't watch our update last week, normal for April is to see temperatures rising from an average of the upper 70s at the beginning of the month to low 80s later in the month. 50s at night turn into 60s. It is usually not that wet of a month though. So even if we had a near normal April, that does not mean a lot of rain. It just means, near normal, which is 2.42 inches.
2.42 inches.
Exactly, 2.42 inches.
So these 90 degree temperatures that we saw last week, is that normal, not normal for our month of April?
Yeah, we typically do get 90s in April. March is a bit early. I had, now that we're going off the cuff here, I want to see, I think I had a first 90s map, earliest 90s. I don't know if I have it ready to go. We, at least some point in the recent future, I was talking about the earliest 90s, and I think that's why I got rid of the graphic, because we've already had those 90s again. Mm-hmm. So it was on the earlier side for us to get 90s, and we expect more 90s here this week, at least the chance for 1 or 2. It's not crazy early. It's not record early for 90s, but months. It is a bit early here. And I can pull it up right now. I'm almost there. This is what happens when you ask me questions about the things that we haven't necessarily planned on. But that's what makes the show so exciting, right?
Yes.
The average first 90-degree day is April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Boom, there it is. So that's in 2 days from now.
So we're almost there.
So we're almost there, but we've already had our first 90s, remember. So they have come early. Mm-hmm. The earliest first 90-degree day of the last few years. So this year we had March 12th. Remember, April 3rd is normal. So this year was like 3 weeks early.
Last year was
about a month early. Yeah. And then look at the year before that.
Even earlier.
February, even earlier. And then 2022 was still early by about a week.
Didn't we have a freeze in 2023 February?
We had a freeze early in the month, yeah.
But
then later in the
change.
month, we bounced back into the 90s. So the last time that we had our first 90-degree day of the year come later than average was all the way back in 2021 when it happened on April 8th. So April 3rd is normal. April 8th, they're 5 degrees later than normal.
What is the hottest temperature you've seen since you've lived in Austin?
I think it was 112.
112?
Yeah. Do I have that graphic? Hottest temperatures ever list. Gosh, I hope this is updated. 112.
112.
So I've seen 110. 112 was before I moved here. But 2011 and 2000, we hit 112. Then 110, we hit more recently in 2023. And then we hit 109 last year. Oh, 109 is fine for you?
Yeah, but 112 is a little
112 is too much? Oh, okay. Well, now we know your tolerance. So now I've run out of graphics. But yeah, so we've covered a lot today. We talked about the average first triple-digit days of the year coming July 4th, but that they have happened in May. And now that we're in April, we're therefore not too far away. I've got a blog on kxan.com under the weather and traffic tab. Then you follow the drop down to weather blog, and it's called How Far Away Are Triple Digit Days in Austin. And it's got some of those graphics that we dug into here today, as well as a little summer preview. And our own digital data analyst, reporter, graphics guy extraordinaire, Christopher Adams, put together some of those cool little charts about the heat in Austin and triple digits too. So there's a lot to dig into there. Again, that's on kxan.com. You can also get to it on the homepage.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Nick, here on KXAN Live. This was somewhat of an exciting topic.
Yeah, off the cuff. We're flying by the seat of our pants, as they say.
Well, thanks for joining us. We're excited to see what we talk about next week. I know it's too early to figure that out right now, but we'll be here.
Yeah, it looks a little drier than normal next week, but please check back with us this week. Every day through Friday and possibly Saturday has at least some severe weather risk. We are in severe weather season now that continues through the first half of June. Making sure you're weather informed is key. KXAN weather app, if you don't have that yet, what is stopping you? It's free. You can customize all the alerts to what you want to hear about, and you can turn off some of the lower end alerts if you don't care about those. But if you want to get woke up in the middle of the night by tornado warnings and that sort of thing, you can make sure that those settings are to your liking. You can also have that app know the location that you're at, so it'll update the forecast and conditions and warnings and things based on where you are. If you drive around for work or if you leave the area, it can follow you there. If you want it to, you can also turn that off too. So it's a great resource to have. We hand put in the forecast for the next 48 hours and the next 7 days in there. So this is not coming from a computer model that may or may not be right. It is coming from us, where we get to look at the computer models and figure out which one's doing well and which one isn't. So KXAN weather app, got to have it on a week like this week, especially with daily severe weather chances. Meteorologist Tommy House will update you on the forecast at 4, and you'll be able to join me at 5 and 6, 9 and 10 tonight.
Yes, and you can also download our KXAN Plus app on any streaming platform, and it is also free, right?
Yeah, and you can access videos like these and our forecast updates that way, and live streaming newscasts, and then
exclusive
right
content.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Sorry, on your television.
On your TV, on your phone, anywhere, your laptop.
Everywhere.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.